I'm on stage speaking to 400 people, and I'm up there embarrassed about the way I look. Now my whole presence, my executive presence, is stronger because I'm in better shape.
We are back. Another episode of the Kettlebell Guys podcast. It's just me today with our guy, Marc. Marc, you're going to have to help me say your last name.
No one knows how to say it. It's ZDRO is like an STRO. It's Strojewski. That's why everyone in my personal life and business call me Z.
Okay. I didn't know that I could call you Z. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Very nice. Well, Marc, I appreciate it. Marc is a KT client. How long have you been with us, Marc?
I think I joined in September of last year.
Okay. So
8 months? No.
Yeah. 7
8 months. It's almost May, so it's,
Yeah. 100%. 7, 8 months, man. And how do you feel just in general right now before we get into it?
1,000 times better.
I love that.
Not with all the aches and pains anymore. Life is better and more enjoyable for sure.
Awesome, man. Well, we're going to dig in. I want to ask some questions to kind of understand your journey and how you got there. But if you wouldn't mind, can you give just kind of a bio background on you? You know, what you do for work, family life, things like that?
Yeah. So single dad of 2 boys, 7 and about to be 9. Spent most of my professional life in dental distribution. So I'm an executive sales director for Henry Schein Dental, which means I oversee 23 states on the western side of the U.S. So yeah, I've been doing that for a while, but kind of bounced around geographically as far as where I've lived. Kansas is my home base, but I've lived in Chicago for 4 or 5 years. I lived in Toronto, Canada for 4 or 5 years. I lived in Austin, Texas for a couple of years. So I bounced around, but KC's home, and that's where I plan to spend out my days.
All right. KC. Yeah. Very nice. You've been all over the place. I'm actually considering making a move to Austin, Texas. So very cool.
Another great place. So
yeah,
Scottsdale and Austin are my 2 favorite places in the U.S.
Very nice. Very nice. And how'd you come across KT originally? Do you remember?
I like to look at myself as a social media mogul, jokingly, of course. And I think I kind of randomly seen, I was getting peppered with Sean's ads on Instagram, and I kind of looked at it and was like, hey, yeah, what is this? And then I was actually in a wedding in Chicago, and I remember dancing all night. I love to dance at weddings, and just wake up the next morning and go, man, I am out of shape. And I think I was scrolling before bed, and kind of one of the ads really caught me. And then I can't remember if there was like a link to like a further story. Just kind of watching, I was like, yeah, that's what I need. I'd kind of, I've been through a weight loss journey before. So when I moved to Canada, I was overweight and kind of got down to my ideal weight in Canada. And so I knew what to do. It's not, I always say knowledge isn't power, execution is power, right? We all know how to lose weight. That formula is easy. It's the execution piece. And then I kind of, came back from Canada, had kids, and over the next 8 years, slowly put it all back on, and, was making all the excuses. And I think I talked to one of the guys in the programs, like I bought everything thinking that magically, just because I paid for it, it was somehow going to work. And then I started thinking, kettlebells at home. I'm busy right now. I'm a single father, working, traveling. That's something I can't really create a bunch of excuses for, right? If I can do it at home for 20, 30 minutes, let's give it a try. And so I signed up for the initial call, knowing in my mind it was like I was already committed. So just kind of went through the process, like, all right, yeah, let's give it a go.
Those are always the fun calls for us when guys show up and they're like, I'm already committed.
Yeah, exactly. I appreciate the pitch, but just tell me what I got to do to get started.
Too many guys, I think, show up potentially to our calls, not quite there yet.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. So one of the questions we always ask guys is, did you have any specific moments prior to joining KT that you felt like were moments where you're just like, they stung a lot, or for some guys, they talk about like, that's like my rock bottom moment. And you talked about being at a wedding and dancing all night and being like, I'm out of shape. Like, I got to do something about this. Do you feel like you had any other moments like that prior to?
Several. I don't know if I had a rock bottom moment. It was just more like, I'm a big golfer, and I was like, I can't golf. I'm out of shape. I mean, it's just like all the things. I'm out of shape. It was, if there was a moment, I was like, man, it's getting difficult to put my shoes on, right? Yeah. I started realizing I had, like 2-foot shoe horns around the house so I could put my shoes on. Like, that's, 47 years old. I shouldn't need a shoehorn to put my shoes on.
Yeah.
So I think it was just a lot of those different moments that kind of compounded. I was like, all right, you got to do something. Like, I had done this before. I knew it was a motivation, and I knew what gave me success the first time was having some accountability and a community to kind of lean into. And then this gave, with the kind of the virtual coaching, gave me an extra level of accountability that I knew I needed.
Yeah. What were your objective numbers when you started? Do you remember, like, where were you at weight? What?
Yeah, I actually think I actually lost like a little bit of weight right before I joined KT, but when I kind of made the decision I was going to start working out, I got up to 280. And the first time I lost a lot of weight, I got up to 275. And I remember my friends and I joke about it because I remember I had a little step ladder that said max weight 250. And I was like, I was 270. I was like, surely I can get on it. Surely there's a little margin of error. Nope, I stepped on it and I cracked it. So that first time I was like, all right, now I know I can't get above 250, and here I am at 280 again.
Yeah.
You got to make some change. And then, I mean, the visceral fat was like 22, and that was another thing. I was like, all right, I got to change that. I can't remember my body fat. I mean, it was probably well in the, high 30s, somewhere in there. I'm sure we can look back, but I mean, I looked and felt unhealthy.
Yeah. Do you remember when you joined? Do you remember having any big concerns or having any things that you were, I don't know, nervous about when coming to KT?
Sure. And maybe we'll talk about it. I think some of the things that you guys do strategically to start people out is smart psychologically, and I think that's part of the battle. Anyone that's probably in similar shoes as me, that's business professional, busy with work, successful in that aspect of the life, but not in this. It was like, I don't know if I have it in me to go through like the muscle soreness, the fatigue, trying to sleep better, because I already have sleep problems. It was like, am I going to handle the cravings? Am I going to be able to handle waking up sore? And I think that's the beauty of the program, is you kind of ease your way into a lot of things and you build milestones of success, which guys like me like to conquer things. And so even though there were small wins, there were wins that made me feel, that was a win. Now let me go get the next win. And then those things compound, right? And then before you know it, we all know that it takes 28 days to build habits. Before you know it, you had these easy wins and you built some habits, and it was like, all right, now I can take on the next thing.
Yeah. But it's interesting, right? Because like before you joined, right before you made the investment, decided to commit, you had no idea about any of that, right? Or didn't know exactly that was going to be the process, right? So what do you think? I'm always curious about, what do you think made the decision anyways? Because I feel like a lot of times guys come to KT and they, there's nerves around it. It's an investment, but there's this for different reasons for different guys of like why I made the decision anyways.
Well, I think you see a lot of people talk about it in the group, like the investment added to the accountability. Right. I've spent a bunch of money on other things that it was easy to go like, it was just a couple $100, or it was this, if it was nothing if I didn't commit to it. This was if I make this investment and I don't commit to it, then I'm gonna feel really bad with myself about just letting that go away. Right. So I don't think like me, no one's concerned about the money. I don't say no. I mean, like, it wasn't the money that determined me. It was if I invested the money and then didn't execute or didn't capitalize on the opportunity, then it would feel like a complete waste, right? Like I tell people all the time, like when I tell them like, what's it cost? And they're like, well, that's a big investment. I'm like, yeah, but you know what? If you get to fast forward and look back and go, how much would you spend if I could be where I am today, instantaneously back, a year ago? You can't put a price tag on that, right?
Man,
you can't put a price tag on 22 visceral fat going, now I'm at 12.
Man, seriously. Okay. So let's dig into where you are now. I want to hear more about kind of like your opinion on the experience.
Yeah.
But where are you now? What's objectively numbers compared to where you started? Where are you now?
Yeah, so I'm at 225. I think fat percentage, I should have looked this up. I got busy this morning. I think 28% body fat. No, 25% body fat.
Come on now.
Body mass 172. Fat mass is the one that probably, me personally, that I zero in on the most. I just got back from the Cayman Islands. I'm up a pound, but we got as low as 58.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know what? So you were 280 when you started, around 280, and you're at 225 now.
Correct.
Okay.
And fat mass. Let me go back in here. Fat mass at one point when I started was 100.27.
You had 100.27 pounds of fat mass on your body, and today you're at 58.
Correct.
How do you feel, man? That's 42 pounds down.
I mean, like I said, every morning was a battle just to roll out of bed, right? I mean, it's the inflammation, it's the backaches, it's the, every joint in my body was aching. Now it's like, I'm not saying I'm 100% where I want to be, but it's night and day, like the zest I have to wake up and go do things now, right? Like I played 36 holes of golf yesterday. I wouldn't have been able to play 36 holes of golf 6 months ago. I would have been huffing and puffing. And I finished the day and I felt like I could, if daylight would allow, I could have played another 18.
I love that. I love
So, I mean, it's just, again, you can't put a price tag on that feeling and, running around with my boys now. I mean, like my boys are asking me to go take a walk with them. 8 months ago, I'd have been like, you guys go take a walk. I'll sit at the edge of the park and catch my breath. It's like, just enjoying those moments are way easier and better.
Man, that's it's funny whenever Sean and I have gone and like done golf trips like that where you play 36 holes, go to Bandon Dunes or whatever. We see a lot of guys and we're like, oh, man, like that's a KT client. They could be our client right now.
Right. For sure.
And like, man, I wonder if those guys would realize just how different they would feel playing 36, because we'll be at the end of the day, right? And people will be complaining about their body hurting. It's like, dude,
there has been one downside to all of this. My golf swing hasn't quite adjusted to the weight, the lost weight and the weight transfer is a little off. So my timing and my rhythms has been affected. So
you're spraying, it's going far, but it's not going straight. Okay. And that stuff, the moments that you get to have with your family and your kids, that must just be, I mean, incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible. Credit to what you guys have built, and credit to my coach Hugo, who's I feel like just giving me my life back. So at times it gets emotional because you're like, man, had I not. There's a lot of times in life things have got to kind of come together at the right time. I don't know if it was this wedding or whatnot, but what if I wouldn't have joined? Literally, I made a decision at midnight going to bed after a wedding after watching a social media ad. What if I didn't see that ad and I didn't join? I might be still sitting here at 280 pounds. Hating life. So it's I'm a big like butterfly effect guy. What happens? Where would I be had I not been in that moment at that time and made the decision and had the call the very next day? I remember I was doing my transformation initial call like in the Uber on my way to the wedding, and I was just like, "Hey man, we gotta hurry up!" I'm in. Tell me what I gotta do.
Tell me what to do.
I get it. I watched all the ads. I see it. This is exactly what I need, right? Because it was, you hit the ad. I get it's marketing, but it hit on all the right things, right? The one that hit, are you successful in business? Are you successful in all aspects of your life, but you're not successful here, right? And it's like, why am I not applying principles that I use in everyday business in my own personal life? And I just knew I needed accountability, just like I hold some of my team members accountable. I wasn't holding myself accountable, and I just needed that.
So let's talk about the experience. You mentioned you got Coach Hugo. Shout out to Coach Hugo. He's the man.
For sure.
Talk to me about what it was like when you started. Do you remember back then? Like you talked about the small wins, every couple of weeks, but did you ever have any times where you doubted the process or felt like you weren't getting the results that you wanted, or do you feel like it's been pretty smooth?
I don't know if I would say smooth. I think I just put a lot of faith into the process and making sure I was doing all the things, Coach Hugo told me to do. And I just, we had the regular check-ins and it was like, hey man, tell me what to do and I'll go do it. Right. Like, and I think part of the ad is like, hey, we planned it all out for you. And I joke, like I just got back from the Cayman Islands and people are like, you want to go do this? I go, my day is structured to a calendar and a schedule every day of every week. And I make decisions all the time. Like I don't want to make decisions. I don't want to, I want to wake up and decide if I want to go to the beach or if I want to go do an excursion. But like to me, this transformation or this program catered to like, let me just take the thinking out of it. Right.
Right.
Luckily for me, I'm someone that I can eat the same things every day. So like, I remember day one, I was like, Coach, tell me where I need to be, help me build it. And then I'll just eat that every day. And I know that not everyone can do that. Right. Cause some people need the variety. I don't need the variety. I just need to eat. Right. And so, give me the walk, give me the steps. And so I thought, I think, I would say for the first 4 months, I was locked in. And then I think as the years turned, I've had to have some conversations with Coach. I'm like, man, golfing season's coming. I got some travel, some vacations. And so we're working through that. And I remember, actually it was in the first few months. I had a dinner date and he was like, hey, let's plan for that. You can have whatever you want at dinner. Let's plan for it. Right. And it was the first time I was going super hard, super regiment. And it's like, hey man, you can loosen up. You can have a beer or two. You can have the exercise. Well, let's just build that in. Let's get a few more steps in. Let's maybe save some calories for later. Let's get to the daily macros. And so that, building that structure in was like, all right, I can live life too and still do this. And so I think that was probably like my second milestone in the program of being like, all right, these are all things I know, right? But when you're able to tie what you know into your own execution, then you're like, okay, now I know I can hold myself accountable to doing this every day.
Right. You kind of have this like moment of synergy where it becomes real for you. Like you said at the beginning, where you said knowledge is, just knowing.
Knowledge isn't power. Execution is power.
Right. And it's like execution is power once it's like reinforced by, oh, this actually works. And I've like proven to myself that it works. And I've proven to myself in a way that I feel like is realistic for me.
Well, now that I think about it, now I remember the next day I woke up and weighed myself and it actually, like I still went down, right? And I think what's nice is about with the daily check-ins, with the scale, I think a lot of other programs prior try to teach you psychologically to stay off the scale because you're going to have these, fluctuations. Well, I think that with the human scale, there's more data to look at than just pounds, right? So finding like every day, I kind of look for like what's the win within my scale metrics for the day. It's not always weight, right? Because your lean mass fluctuates, and we all know that that's not an exact number. But then I just look at body percentage and body fat mass. I'm like, as long as I'm maintaining that, I always knew as long as I'm getting rid of fat mass, that's a win for me, right? So I could wake up and like, oh, yeah, I'm a pound heavier, but I'm 0.5%, I'm quarter of a pound lighter on fat mass. That's a win.
Right. Going in the right direction.
Going in the right direction. And so just keep compounding that, right? So we
had a client recently who was getting frustrated at the scale, and Coach Mike sent him his photos and said, dude, look at these. I mean, it was like drastically different.
Right.
Like you can't trust just one number on the scale. Like look at the difference between these two guys. And I know your before and after photos that I saw previously or recently are striking.
Well, luckily I kept this shirt from a long time ago. This shirt would have looked like a balloon on me if I'd have wore it, 8 months ago.
Dude, I mean,
I have a lot of clothes and I'm just throwing back on. Like, now they're getting these clothes are getting loose.
Right. That is one of the things that unfortunately for guys, they have to tailor the other direction.
Right.
How do you say, I'm assuming you saw that or you've seen that before and after photo recently. I'm like, how's that guy on the right different than the guy on the left?
Oh yeah, I mean, even my kids, they remind me of it. Like, they see me, they have a bag of candy, and they're like, "You can't have any, Dad. We don't want you going back to where you were." So, like, even I got my boys as a constant reminder. Obviously with discipline, when it comes to sugar, I just stay away from it because I don't. That's where I have zero willpower. I have one bag of candy, I'm gonna eat the whole thing. But yeah, you look at that and it's almost. I mean, it gets emotional at times, right? You look at it and you're like, man, how did I get there? Now it's like, I saw a bunch of people from work at the Cayman Islands and like, man, well, you look fantastic. How did you? I go, and obviously you're thankful and appreciate when other people notice. And to me, it's like the real win isn't losing the weight; it's keeping it off now, right?
Yeah.
Like, not letting myself. This is now my second go around of losing 40, 50 pounds. It's like I don't want to be going through this cycle again 5 years from now, right? Like, oh man, how did you end up here again? So it's trying to make adjustments to my daily lifestyle, being a little, incorporating some things back in that maybe not as strict as I was for the first 6 months, and just knowing that I can get to this point where I can still have just slow wins and compounded over the next year are going to make a difference.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier when you were talking about the investment, you said, the only reason that this would not be worth it is if I invest and then I don't execute. Right. And I think, we talk to a lot of guys every single week, guys who come to us at different levels of readiness, right, to make a change or invest or whatever it may be. But I always tell guys, like probably the number one reason why guys don't make the investment is there's a lack of belief or there's a doubt or concern around, it's not around like getting the results. It's around what you said is maintaining them, like actually being able to, is this actually going to be the thing where I change the lifestyle habits to a point where it's like, I'm going to not only get the results, but I'm going to keep them.
But I think when I evaluated that, to me, that's where the knowledge portion came in, and I kind of use the reverse psychology. I know if I do it, I know everything they're saying. Like when I watch the ad, like I know everything they're saying is accurate. I just got to go do it. Like I know enough to know that if I just do it, then I'm going to get the results. And that's what I kept telling myself. If I go do it, if this investment makes me execute or helps me execute, then I'm going to get the results I want, or I know I'm going to get some results. I'll be honest, I didn't think I'd get this level of results as fast. I think that's the difference between my first transition. Like this has been more effective. And I'll talk about that here in a second. Like this was less stressful on my body. Like the first time I lost a lot of weight, like it was hardcore lifting, waking up with the soreness, having the DOMs, doing squats, and that's factored in. I was like, oh, I can't. Like that was when I was in my early, late 30s. I don't know if I can deal with that level of muscle soreness, right?
Right.
And this was a more easy way. Yeah, there was soreness, but not to the point where you're like, I can't walk downstairs, right? And so that all that factored into my decision. I was like, all right, if I just the money, and I just kept going, all right, if I get to, even if I lose 30 pounds, 40 pounds, what would you pay for that? Like if I knew like you guarantee me that, then I think there was a guarantee, right? I can't remember. Yeah, I was like, yeah, all right. And psychologically, I knew that's a win-win for you guys. Like if you do all the things, you're not going to be wanting money back, or we're not going to have to give you money back, right? Like it just, we know the formula works, and I think that's what the beauty of the program. I was all in, just going, I knew my issue was accountability and doing it. Just get up and do it, and it will work. And that's, for whatever reason, it resonated with me and it connected. I think I connected with Coach Hugo. I think I was one of his first clients too.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if it was first, but I think he had just started. Because I remember the first time thinking, I got a new coach. He don't know what he's doing. But no, but then I reversed. I'm like, I know he knows what he's doing. He's just new to the kettlebell, and then I took ownership. Like, I want to make him proud, right? I'm one of his first clients, and so I think we connected initially because he's a new coach, I'm a new client, and it was like, all right, let's go win together. And like those are things that I get behind, right? I'm a former, I'm not gonna say athlete, but played sports, and so I believe in the team aspect of everything in my life. So I think that was like, there was a community, plus I had my own coach and team, and I was like, all right, let's, so there were just additional bonds that were formed that also motivated.
Yeah. You mentioned this experience has been different than what you did before. And one of the things I always ask guys is like, what do you think is different about this? Or when you're thinking about, okay, am I going to be able to maintain this for the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? Like, number one, do you believe that? Like, do you believe like what you're currently doing at KT, do you believe it's sustainable for you for decades? And if so, then what about it do you feel like is sustainable?
Well, I think it's the lead up, the build up that you guys, the way you structure it was, again, I said earlier, it was the little wins, right? Like the first 30 days was all diet, right? And so most programs make you jump right into diet and exercise. The diet's we all know is the hardest part, right? And so you throw in diet with like extreme exercise, like mentally and psychologically, those are hard things to conquer at the same time. And I think that's probably why a lot of people fail. It's like, man, I got the cravings, and now I got to go work up in the morning. And then you start having that defeatist attitude, right? You failed, you cheated, and you missed a workout. And so if you have that early on in your first 30 days, psychologically, that's detrimental, right? Because now you're in that, this is just another program that I failed at. And then you can give up. Really easy to give up. So it was just change, now I'm trying to remember, just change the foods you're eating. Right? We weren't counting calories. We weren't counting macros. It was just, let's just eat what you want, but let's just change what you eat. Right. Yeah. And so that was a small win. Right. And then, again, I don't remember the transition now. I think after 30 days, it was like, all right, now we're going to, what was the next phase? Do we start counting calories?
Like looking at basic portions, almost like
eyeballing it. Yeah. And then we started doing some small, light, easy workouts. I remember thinking the very first week of workouts, I was like, this is a joke. But then I look back, it was smart because, again, I completed the workout. I got to check it off, right? I did the workout. Yeah, it wasn't super hard, but I felt it, right? I felt the increased heart rate. I felt a little bit of, I don't even say soreness. It was just more tightness in the muscles the next day. And I was like, oh, I can handle that. I can deal with that. So then again, it was like week after. I remember like, I think by month 3, I was like, this is almost too easy. Right? And it kind of worked against me because then I tried to go heavy too fast, and then I had some back, and coach was like, hey man, just stick with it.
Yeah.
We always sometimes, I'm always a more is better type of guy.
High achiever.
Yeah, and that doesn't always work, right? Especially in fitness. Like I've had a couple of people, I said, just follow it exactly. There were a couple of things I went back. If I look back, I probably pushed myself a little, too hard to my own detriment. And if I would have just stuck to it probably would have been even better, right? But I think psychologically in the beginning, in the first 90 days for sure, you guys have just set it up for psychological wins, which to me which are more impactful to the long-term success than the physical wins. And then, but the physical wins came with it,
Yeah.
right? But it was more psychological in the beginning. And then it got to a point where it's just like, all right, the diet points part easy for me. Then I started measuring and counting macros and weighing, and then I had everything just set up. Then I was doing food prep and everything. Then that part became easy. And then once the food prep becomes super easy, then I can zero in on the physical part.
There's something to that where you're waking up and you're like, it's almost like it's like too easy.
Right.
For you. Because one of the goals that we have when we put this whole thing together was like, how do we make sure that when guys wake up the next day, they're like, okay, I can go do that again.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times guys will train Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or whatever, right? But like if you wake up Tuesday morning after Monday workout and you're just like absolutely crushed, well, it's like, how many weeks are you going to do that? And if you continue to wake up the next day and you're like, yeah, I can go do that again, and you're seeing like serious results from whatever it be, weight loss in the mirror, body fat percentage, well, how much easier is it going to be able to maintain it, when you actually get to that, whatever your goal is, right?
Even my cardiologist was like, what are you doing? He's like, you start taking those fat shots? I'm like, no, I didn't. And that's the only thing that sucks about this right now is the timing and the culture. Like everyone's losing weight through the GLP-1 stuff. And so it's like, oh, you took the shot. Like, no, man, I'm doing it the whole fashioned way. I don't need your validation, but I would like you to know that I'm not taking the shot.
The old-fashioned way, just good old-fashioned hard work.
Good old-fashioned hard work, exactly.
That doesn't feel too hard. Like I could actually show up and keep doing it.
Yeah, but no, what you said, there's truth there, because that's the program I was doing before the first time. If I look back, there was probably 3 hours of workouts a day. And so that's not, I was like, I can't. People are like, why don't you go back to doing work? Because I know what it took to do it the first time. I'm not saying I couldn't do it again. I just know mentally, I don't know that I can make that level of commitment because I didn't have kids the first time I did it. I have kids now. I was like, I can't commit to 3 hours of workouts a day and all those. It was like 1 day a week rest. And I was like, yeah, there's multiple ways to do it, right? We all know that, but which one's going to fit your lifestyle? And this is.
Was it surprising to you that it felt like you ended up? It felt like you had to do less, like not have to spend 3 hours in the gym to get similar results?
Yes and no. Just because I spent a lot of time while I was getting fat researching how not to get fat, and so you learn a lot of different things. You're like, which one's going to work, right? And then I think the one thing at least I learned was I know the one that's going to be most effective is the one I can do the longest.
Yeah, 100%.
That's it. And I never allowed my brain to get caught up into I got to have results now, right? I think even was I don't know, it might have been you or Sean on one of the early posts. I think in my first few months I said something like, I'm committed to the long haul. I think it was actually Sean. Sean was like, if you stick the way you're going, if you stick to this in 6 months, you're not going to recognize who you are, and that's basically where I'm at.
I love that.
Yeah.
So real quick, where did you start kettlebell wise, strength wise? What bells were you using in the beginning, and where are you now?
I always forget the different kilograms
or pounds. You can say pounds.
Yeah, I think I started with whatever the basic set, and I was like, okay, this is way too light. I think I'm doing Turkish get-ups with 53 pounds. 53 pounds.
Come on, yeah, 24 kg.
Yeah, swings. I have an 88 pound, but I just haven't invested in another one because 88 feels probably light.
Just wearing it down, just wearing out the 88 pound bell.
Yeah, for sure.
I love that. That's so good.
Again, what's next after 88?
Well, there's a 97, so 88 is 40 kg.
We're starting to do more 2-hand stuff now, right? So I'm gonna go. I need to get a dual set now.
Yeah,
of the lighter weights.
Yeah. It goes 44, then 48. 48's the beast. You should definitely get a beast. You should get a 106.
Yeah.
Sure. That's kettlebell guys they get a beast, and they get used to swinging that sucker, and that's kind of like then you're really in.
And me and Hugo talk about this, because I've had such lower back problems for so long that we've kind of slowed down increasing weight just because I can do more weight, but then it's just making sure I don't put any additional strain on the back. And we're working on my form, but I think as I go up in weight, sometimes my form sacrifices. So we're just we're modifying that to make sure that I don't injure myself. So yeah.
Well, last couple of questions. I don't want to keep you too long. I always like to give guys an opportunity to talk about their coach. And obviously, like you mentioned, I think you were one of Coach Hugo's first clients.
Yeah.
And so I just, I think that a lot of times guys don't fully realize what is it like to have a coach? What is it like, especially if you've only try to do this stuff on your own in the past? So I always like to give the floor
Yeah.
to
Well,
talk.
I think at first I was like, do I really want to check in with someone? Have a code. And then I met Hugo, and I was like, oh man, he's a really nice guy, right? And I just think from day one, I say I could tell like he was genuinely invested in me, and like this is a coming from a place like I want you. You wanted me to do well. Like I felt it, right? And instantaneously, I felt like an accountability and ownership. I'm like, I got to make this guy proud. Yeah, he's my coach, but he doesn't have to do. He doesn't have to spend this time with me, and everything we talked about was all about like just making sure we didn't overdo it, and that we were taking the little steps, and just super supportive, right? And it got to a point where even though I've never met the guy, I genuinely see him as a friend of mine, older brother now, and it's like I look forward to talking to Coach Hugo. Where in the beginning I was like, I want to get my check-in call over with. Now it's like, hey man, I want to talk to Coach, and the last few weeks we've missed some check-ins just because I've been traveling so much. But like I genuinely enjoy connecting with him. I've been he's been going through an additional training program, and I say, hey man, I don't know if you looked in the mirror, but in the last 4 months I've seen a difference in you. Like you've been training harder, and you're looking pretty ripped there, man. But he's used to providing that feedback to us. But I wanted to make sure he knew like, his hard work's paying off to you. He was already fit, but now he's looking even more fit. He's looking even more ripped. But no, he's just a great guy. I look forward to meeting him someday and working out with him. I oversee Colorado for work, and I'm like, hey, one of these days I'm gonna come out there and we'll get a workout together.
I love that. I always tell guys that the guys who get the best results in the program have the best relationship with their coach. Sure.
For sure.
And they build that. And I think I've actually never heard a client say that before, where they said, I want to make coach proud.
Yeah.
But I bet a lot of our clients feel that way.
Yeah. Well, because you don't want to check in and be like, yeah, it didn't work out this week, and then I ate like crap,
Yeah.
But with Hugo, I felt like if I did have I could be like, hey man, I had a bad day, but I'm gonna get back on and help. And he'd be like, hey man, it's all right. So it wasn't from a place of shame. It was from a place of like, all right, man, I had to live life this week, and I'm gonna get back on it, and knew there was no judgment, right? Like, I know Hugo's in it for the long haul with me too. Like we're not trying to win anything, right? Other than winning it together personally, right? Like we're not trying to compete against other clients and other coaches and win a prize here. It's this, and that's what the community I think is all about, supportive. It's like we all know the real win is getting our lives back.
Yeah.
Right? So.
All right, last couple of questions for you. I know you kind of answered this, but I want to see if you'd add anything to it.
Okay.
What do you think has been some of the best moments since? You obviously talked about golf, you talked about going for walks with your sons, but would you add anything to that? Best moments since, and then what do you feel like you can do now with your kids that you couldn't before? Is there anything else you'd add to that?
Oh, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think I did kind of mention. I don't know if there's anything to add. I just think in general, just you have a different appreciation for waking up and enjoying life, right? It got to a point. I'm a pretty prominent executive in my company. I hated going to national meetings because I just looked horrible, right? And I'm on stage speaking to, at times 300-400 people, and I'm up there embarrassed about the way I look. Right now, I'm like, I can't wait to the next meeting because I know people are going to see a different me. But I feel like just my whole presence, my executive presence, is stronger because I'm in better shape, and I can speak more confidently because I'm more confident in myself. So my message to my team lands better, right? So there's just a trickle down effect of everything. And then with my kids, it's like we're doing a lot more activities. My kids are asking me to go run around, and I can see that they're happier because dad's doing more than he used to. I'm not just laying around being a slug all day long, right? Like I work, if I'm not traveling, I work from a desk from home. And, there used to be a point in time where I was probably a lot more irritable when they would come home. I'm like, dad just needs rest. Now I'm like, all right, my kid's going to be home in an hour. I'm going to wrap up and we're going to go do something. So, everyone, any dad in this program that has kids understands how valuable that is.
We were just talking about that in our team meeting about bringing presence to like every moment.
Mm-hmm.
And every moment that you're not in the back of your mind thinking about being 280 pounds or just feeling unhealthy or just doubting your ability to go do the things that your kids want to do. If that's gone, then you just have all that presence gets to go back towards your kids.
Correct. For sure.
And that's everything, dude. That is very cool.
Well, thank you to you and Sean and everybody else that had a hand in building it. You guys built a an amazing community, amazing group of people that hold each other accountable and ultimately help people be successful. So thank you for giving me my life back.
Well, it's nothing without guys who are ready to do the work. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I always tell guys, I truly appreciate you coming in and being like, all right, just tell me what to do. Because it's funny, every time we do a podcast like this, it's like every time a guy's successful, we're just like, it sounds like you just like followed the system. Like, hey, Coach Hugo, tell me exactly what to do. And then I'm just going to do that.
Well, and people that I've talked to about it, I go, that's what the ad says. Hey,
Right.
we take the decision making out of it for you. You don't have to think about this. Just do it. And so I'm just doing what I got sucked in by the ad, right? Right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, you guys are giving me everything the ad said you're going to do. And if I do it, I'm going to have success. And so that's the message to anybody that will watch this or that's looking at, you know, there's no hidden smoke or mirrors or secret to this thing. It's hard work. I mean, if you think it's not crazy hard work, but we definitely got to make some changes to our lifestyle. And if you're willing to make the changes, you're going to have success and you're going to be thankful 6 months, a year, who knows when you start being thankful. I started probably being thankful 3 or 4 months in because I knew I was starting to have real changes and impact. And so I was like, I just got to keep going. And if I'm being honest, and Hugo knows the last month, I'm like, I got to get back into it, right? I haven't been as consistent the last month as I was the first 7, but I know I'm not going to go back, right? Like, even though I've had some probably more cheat days than normal, I'm still doing a lot of other things. I'm not just completely falling off the wagon. I'm still either waking up and walking on the treadmill, watching what my diet, watching what I eat half the day instead of like, all right, today's a complete cheat day. I'm just going to go off the wagon, right? So it's like, all right, whereas before I would allow myself, I'm throwing the towel and go all off the deep end. I don't let myself get to the deep end anymore.
Yeah. That's the thought process of I know I'm never going to go back.
Right.
Dudes, you're going to have seasons of life for sure. You're going to have months where you travel more. You're going to be going to where'd you say you went to the Mykonos? Is that
Cayman
Islands? Yeah. Cayman Islands. You're going to have vacations. Like you're going to have seasons like that. As long as you just know, I'm never going to go back. I'm not that guy anymore.
Right.
That's all that matters.
For sure. 1000%.
Last 3 rapid fire questions. If you could only choose one kettlebell exercise to do for the rest of your life, you only get to pick one. Which exercise is it?
I just swing. Kettlebell swing.
Kettlebell swing. Okay. Yeah. If you're on a desert island, you can only bring one kettlebell size, one weight with you to the island. Which bell would you bring?
43, 44.
Okay. 44, 20 kg.
20 kg. Maybe what's the one right below that?
16 is right below that, 35, and then 24 kg is 50. Okay. Because you can do more stuff with it.
I do more stuff with it.
All right. I like that.
I need a little more variety.
All right. I like that. Okay. And then last thing, man, if someone came to you and let's say a friend of yours came to you and they're like, dude, I've been seeing these ads forever. I had a call, but that investment, I'm on the edge. Like, what kind of advice would you give to a guy who is probably on the edge of wondering if it's going to be worth it to pull the trigger on KT?
I think I would put him through the same mental thing that I went through. I said, let's just fast forward a year from now. Give me your ideal results that you want and look back in the mirror and what would you pay for that over the next, know you can get that, right? I mean, if you think you can pay $50 a month, you can get there, but probably not, right? Like if you, what's the most you would pay to have those results, that your ideal results in a year from now? Then if you look at it that way, then the money is negligible, right? I mean, a lot of people I start going around or run around with, their wives are all doing the shot. So those are $500 a month. I mean, you're spending $6,000 a year to lose it, which we all know probably is an unhealthy way to do it. Right. So the cost on your health is irrelevant. It's with the results you're going to get. So I would probably make them just go fast forward and look at where you want to be and what would you ultimately spend. And then I started looking at, sorry to make this question long-winded.
That's okay.
I started looking at how much I was wasting on everything else I had bought in over the last 8 years that I did nothing, right? When you start adding that up, I bought recipes for $300. I bought this piece of equipment for $500. And I'm like, you add it all up, you're spending thousands of dollars of something that's not doing nothing for you.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's if you know you're going to get the results and you want to be held accountable, that's probably the first thing. If you don't want to be held accountable, there's probably nothing that's going to be successful for you, because someone's got to hold you accountable, or you got to hold yourself accountable. And if you're in the rut that a lot of us that join get to, you need help with accountability, and this is going to help you be accountable.
Man, that's the truth right there.
Right.
You have amazing advice. I love it.
Appreciate it.
Well, it was a pleasure meeting you, man. And you have just gotten savage results, down 55 pounds since you started, 7.5 months in.
Yeah.
You should be really proud of that. It's pretty cool to see.
I am. Thank you. And I'm not done yet.
Where-
First month, I go, my goal is to be on one of the ads in the future.
Come on, man. You could be on. I mean, after this interview, you might be on one of the ads next week. We'll see. Well, good stuff, man. And then you're not done yet. So we'll just do this a year from now, and we'll check in then.
Sounds good, Grant. Appreciate the time.
All right, Marc. Thank you for your time, man. I appreciate you.